All right, welcome back to the No Cap Sports 2021 NFL Mock Draft. I'm your host, Matt Robinson.
And I'm David Medina. And make sure to subscribe to our podcast. We release 2 episodes a week, and you can find that in the description below. Let's get right into this mock draft.
Let's go. All right, let's get into it. Like David said, so this is not going to be a predictive mock draft. This is what we think each team should be able to do. This is only going to be a one-round mock draft, no trades, and we're going to be alternating picks. So David has odds. I have evens. David, with the first overall pick with the Jacksonville Jaguars, who do you select?
All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars are on the board. This is going to be an easy one. The first overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence, quarterback Clemson. This really doesn't come to a surprise, to anybody. He's been honestly projected to be the number one overall pick in this draft since I'd say he was a freshman in Clemson. Everyone kind of knew that was going to come down to this. He's been to 2 national championships, won one, been to 3 playoffs. I mean, he's got all the tools. A lot of analysts and everything say that he's probably the best quarterback prospect, since Andrew Luck and then, Manning, Elway. He goes in that elite group. I think that, he's a pretty surefire prospect. It's going to take, a few years for Jacksonville to get into contention. But I think that, if they really just put the effort, if they have the cap space, build the defense, build the line, I think that Trevor Lawrence will be a success in the league. And that's why this is an easy pick for the Jaguars.
So we're not deviating from any other mock draft that you've seen so far. I don't think I've seen anybody other than Brett Favre say that we should take Trevor Lawrence number 1. Trevor Lawrence is going to be the first pick. If he's not, I'll be completely shocked. And then with the second pick, I got the Jets pick. This one is interesting because we did hear they are shopping Sam Darnold, but they could also look to build around him. We might go Penei Sewell here. We might go Zach Wilson, maybe even Justin Fields. But the heavy favorite and who I'm going to take in this one is going to be Zach Wilson. I think he just fits this offense perfectly well. Can make all the throws, can move around in the pocket. He's just the guy. He feels like he's the guy. Like he has that stature. I think he's going to be able to get the job done. I really would have liked to see him play better competition, but he made every throw there is. Great job throwing on the run, great poise in the pocket. I think he's going to work great in the Jets offense, and this is where the Jets rebuild starts. So with the number 3 overall pick, who are you taking, David?
So with the Dolphins on the clock, I mean, there's a few guys you could go here. Obviously, Penei Sewell, he's a guy that could, do wonders on any offensive line. But I do think that the Dolphins, they're big believers in Tua. Everyone has their opinions on Tua, right? And they're believers in him, and they need to add weapons around him. And I think, obviously the 2 big guys you could go with right here are either going to be Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase. I mean, some people might say Jalen Waddle, but most likely I think it's going to be between either Smith or Chase. And people may say that Chase is the better receiver, better prospect. I think they'll go with Devonta Smith. I think, that connection that they did have. I mean, from the very beginning, the legend of Tua was born essentially with a touchdown pass to Devonta Smith in the national championship against Georgia. And I just think the connection is there. And Devonta Smith had a killer year. He's a little skinny. Everyone knows that. But I think that, he'll be great at the next level. So with the 3rd overall pick, let's have the Dolphins taking Devonta Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama.
All right, that's going to be a good one right there. He's going to be a really good player. It's just you do have concerns about the weight stuff, but he's a great wide receiver. Moving on to the next pick, I got the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons is kind of interesting. I don't know. It's confusing on what they might do here. It's, okay, do you get your quarterback of the future? Do you try to build and replace Julio by potentially getting Jamar Chase? Your defense was abysmal last year. We have to fix that, but I don't think there's anybody worth it to pick this high. And I think, okay, you're already tied to Matt Ryan for 2 years. There's no way of getting out of that contract. Julio's still there for a couple years. I think you protect him. You protect Matt Ryan, and you protect your valuables, basically. And I'm going to have them taking Penei Sewell. Just a great offensive tackle. He's going to slide right in. He's going to be his best player available for them at this point. I think it's going to be a great option for them. Protect Matt Ryan, get longevity, get him a few more years at the end of his career. He's still playing solid football. So if you have him going, maybe add another weapon in the second round or work on the defense in the second round. It's just I wish there was somebody better defensively that we could pick right here. And, like, I've seen Kwity Paye go here and players like that. And it's just I think Kwity Paye has a lot of potential. but not a lot of value from the jump. I think Penei Sewell gives you a lot of value just from the start. He's a plug-and-play starter, and I'm taking the Falcons. I'm taking Penei Sewell for the Atlanta Falcons.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That surprised me a little bit. And, like you said, it is a logical pick. We've talked on the podcast before. Penei Sewell, he might not be an instant plug and play, but, once he really gets a feel for the game at the next level, I could see him being, a perennial Pro Bowler, maybe even all pro. He's got all the tangibles, he's really good. I actually, I didn't think you were going to take him. I thought, that he was probably going to land right here to the Bengals. And that kind of complicates this pick a little bit because, like Joe Burrow needs protection. There's no problem. There's no question about that. And, there's guys here like Christian Darrisaw, Rashaan Slater, who a lot of people, are really high on, Jalen Mayfield. And I think that's going to be, important for them. But we're going to mix it up right here a little bit.
Oh.
And we're going to add a weapon for Joe Burrow. We're going to get that college connection. I think that, when you got a prospect like Ja'Marr Chase right there, and you got that connection that Burrow and Chase had in college, let's have the Cincinnati Bengals taking Ja'Marr Chase at number 5.
Okay, that one really caught me out of left field right there. Especially with Joe Burrow's injury. I know do they really need a receiver? Like, you had T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, AJ Green. He getting phased out of the offense. I guess you can't pass up a receiver like Ja'Marr Chase, but I think you got to protect Joe Burrow.
This was more of a situation of I kind of, with the Bengals right now, I went the route of taking the best player on the board rather than taking the biggest need. I just think that, if Chase is right there, the connection that they had in college was insane. I mean, Ja'Marr Chase was, 18 or 19 years old that year that LSU won the Natty against Clemson, and he put up so many yards. Like, this dude is insane, and now he's ready for the draft. If he would have been eligible for the draft last year, he would have probably been selected in the upper half of the draft, and finally he gets his shot, and I'm going to say that he's going to get reunited with his old college quarterback, Joey B.
And we'll see how that works, because we saw Joe Burrow run for his life on literally every play last year. Offensive line is definitely something they need, maybe to get in the second round, but definitely an interesting pick that I haven't seen before. So moving on to the 6th pick, I got the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles are deprived of weapons on offense. You have Miles Sanders, and that's really about it. Jalen Hurts came in after to spell Carson Wentz near the end of last year, played really fun electric football. I'm going to grab him another weapon. If Ja'Marr Chase was here, this is honestly the spot I would have had him. The Eagles needed a receiver, but since he's not here, arguably the best receiver, maybe second best receiver in this draft, I'm giving them Kyle Pitts. He's a big body. He can run basically almost every route as a receiver. Solid blocker, but he's just going to be your chess piece. Like, you can stick him anywhere. He is a mismatch. He has height, weight, speed that no one else has. He is going to be Jalen Hurts' best friend. Like, there's nowhere around. He is going to be such a weapon on this offense. And the Eagles really haven't had anybody like big and strong since Alshon Jeffrey a few years ago. Like, he's been a shell of himself ever since. I think Kyle Pitts slides right into that offense and helps Jalen Hurts at least pick up the pace.
Yeah, I agree with that pick big time. Kyle Pitts, he's a guy that he's just, like you said, the ultimate chess piece. You could put him anywhere and he's going to be, deadly. You really don't see a weapon like that in every single draft. He's a very special player. And I know that I've seen mock drafts where it has the Eagles taking a quarterback at number 6, like Fields or something. But I think that they should give Jalen Hurts a shot. And like you said, the biggest thing they need, if they're really going to give him a shot, is they're going to need to give him weapons. And Kyle Pitts, I think, would be an excellent weapon there for him to really just settle in. I mean, he could be, if Jalen Hurts ends up working out there in Philly, Hurts to Pitts could be, a connection that we see for, almost 10 years or so. It could be something special.
All right, you're up with the 7th pick.
All right, Lions. So this is an interesting one. Quarterback, you could say it's a need because, yes, they did trade Stafford. They did get Goff. They are stuck with that contract. I do personally think that they're going to stick with Goff for this 1 year. They're probably going to see what they have in him. When you look at the needs, of the Lions, it says wide receiver corner. They could take Jalen Waddle. He's definitely an option. You got Caleb Farley, Farley, excuse me. You got a wild card in there like Micah Parsons. Everyone knows, though, about his off-field issues. I say it's between either Waddle or Farley. And I think that they're going to take let's go with Jalen Waddle, because they ended up taking Jeffrey Okudah very early in the draft last year. I think with the number 3 pick. And that would be a pretty bold move, selecting 2 corners in the top 7, back to back. And if they do want Goff to succeed, he's going to need, some weapons. Golladay is going to be a free agent. They might franchise tag him. We'll see what happens there. But I think Jalen Waddle will be a good weapon there in Detroit.
That'll be a fun one to use, and especially they do Golladay and Jones. They're both losing in free agency this year. Really, they just had Hawkinson. They get another weapon. I mean, this guy, he potentially has Tyreek Hill speed. Like, that's a crazy, crazy weapon to add to that offense. I mean, we'll see what Jared Goff can do with Anthony Lynn. They just got somebody else too.
They got Tyrell Williams.
Tyrell Williams from the Raiders. Raiders released him. Tyrell Williams signed with the Lions. We'll see what they can do there. This is going to be fun. But, adding Jalen Waddle to that offense would be electric.
If they, like you said, if they retain Golladay, you have a wide receiver core of Williams, Golladay, Waddle. I mean, Goff, if you're a Lions fan, you need a hope that Goff does work out, that he could kind of find some of his form, from the 2017, 2018, those 2 years right there, because he wasn't number 1 overall pick for a reason. I mean, he just really wasn't. I just don't think that him and Sean McVay were a very good match together, the way that McVay runs his offense. But we'll see if he, finds new life in Detroit, and Waddle will be definitely a weapon that hopefully helps him find a stride there.
All right, so I got Carolina with the number 8 pick, and I don't think he lasts this long. Maybe via trade something happens, but I'm taking Justin Fields right here. I think he's a better quarterback than Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance maybe long-term maybe be a better quarterback, but for right now, I'm taking Justin Fields. He's a better pro-ready guy, can make every throw that you ask him to, does tend to look – it's just you got to work on his decision-making. I don't know if he starts exactly week 1, but, I mean, you got Teddy Bridgewater there. I think he'd be a great teacher, great mentor. Justin Fields, he can make all the throws. Like, remember that throw to Chris Olave? Was it the championship game, the semifinals? I forget which one. Yeah, against Notre Dame, I believe. Yeah. Perfect.
No, against Clemson both years.
Clemson. Okay. Yeah. He throws it in the breadbasket. He can make every throw. He's mobile. It's just you got to do some work on his decision making. I think that is something you can fix once you get into the league. With the right coaching, he'll be able to blossom. We've seen what Matt Rule has done in Carolina so far. I think they have a great coaching staff, especially with Joe Brady. I think that Justin Fields is going to be the right move for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move. Like you said, too, I mean, obviously, because there's no trades in this mock draft, I didn't think, I really don't think Fields will last to 8. But you got to think that's got to be a really good situation for Carolina. If they, there's been rumors of them moving away from Teddy Bridgewater. If this happens, they'll probably find somewhere to, ship him off to. But this is probably going to be their ideal situation. And if you're a Panthers fan, you better hope this happens, because this would be probably one of the best case scenarios for them in this draft.
You're up with number 9.
So number 9, Denver Broncos. Looking at their biggest team needs, cornerback. I personally think it's quarterback, but cornerback is listed.
Hey man, you can do you. You can do. He's right here. No. Oh no, Mac Jones, maybe.
Mac Jones. Kyle Trask to the.
Okay, man. Don't be ludicrous.
This is an easy choice for me. I think Caleb Farley. He's a very great corner prospect, and Denver looking for a new corner. I think that'll fit there fine. I mean, this dude, he's definitely the number 1 corner on pretty much everyone's draft boards. I just think he's more polished of a prospect than J.C. Horn, and I have him going number 9 to the Broncos.
Yeah, this man's height, weight, speed in Denver. It's going to create a lockdown defense. They tell Bradley Chubb. We'll see what they do with Von Miller, but if they can get Caleb Farley out there, have that great pass rush, we might see an even better Denver Broncos defense. Try to retain Justin Simmons in the back end. This defense might be forcing other teams, just putting pressure on Patrick Mahomes. That's what definitely they need. But yeah, Caleb Farley, I think he is. I agree with you. I think he's better, more polished than Patrick Surtain is right now, and just has that better athleticism where it's like Caleb Farley's like low 4.3s potentially, like mid 4.3s. I'm expecting maybe 4.4, but like he's not gonna top out anything higher than 4 or 4.5 probably. Like this dude is fast, with great technique. And I'm up with the Cowboys. Before the draft, I was very much contemplating what I was going to do with this, but the player that I wanted fell this far, and we can see what the Cowboys might do. I mean, their defense horrible last year. Dak Prescott was literally the saving grace for that team. The reason they won those games at the beginning were because of Dak Prescott. They got a new defensive coordinator in there. They improved a little bit, but they just need more players. And this one, I'm going to go Patrick Surtain. I just said he wasn't as good as Caleb Farley, but he's still really good. You match him up again with Trevon Diggs. Another person that I was thinking about right there was Rashaan Slater, just because Tyron Smith hasn't played a full season since like 2016, I believe. Lyle Collins, we don't know what's happening. It's just maybe more versatility. But if Patrick Surtain's still there, I think he's the right option to go. He's just a plug-and-play day one starter. Trevon Diggs had a rough last season. Like he had his moments, but he was almost like Marcus Peters. Like he would give up touchdowns, but he'd also make plays at the same time. So you can live with that. I think if you put Patrick Surtain on the other side, it'll be a great. What do I want to say? It'll just be great into making this defense good again, how it once was. But you're up.
Yeah, I agree with that pick. I agree with that pick too. I feel like before the season started, Patrick Surtain was like the number one corner on everyone's draft boards, and with the emergence of Caleb Farley, people kind of seem to forget about him. But no, definitely, he's I think a top 15 prospect. And I think that's gonna be a great fit for the Cowboys. And Giants on the board at number 11. I mean, you look at some of their needs: wide receiver, edge, tight end. Unfortunately for them, the top three receivers in this draft were already taken. Kyle Pitts was taken, and two great corners were taken. Edge, I'm gonna, probably the safe pick. I'm gonna go with Kwity Paye out of Michigan. The Giants, they could put him opposite of Leonard Williams. Just adding another pass rusher, making that defense better. When you look at it, when you look at that defense in New York, it really isn't that bad. It kept them in a lot of games. I mean, I think they held Seattle to 10 points this past year, or 12 points, or something like that. They beat Seattle in Seattle with Colt McCoy starting. That's how great that defense played. Obviously, their offense needs a lot of work, but I just think, right now when you got a guy like that on the board, there's really no one, that really stands out too much on offense to take. So I'm going to go with Kwity Paye.
Okay. To me right now, Kwity Paye is more potential over production. We've definitely seen guys produce more than him, but he does he's like big dude, like 6'3", 280 almost, fast. It's just, can he take that next step? And I don't know if that's what you want to take at 11, but if the Giants pick him up, are able to retain Leonard Williams, I think that'll be a good pickup for them. And now this is my team, who I root for, San Francisco 49ers, up at number 12. And I still have people on here that I kind of like, but, I mean, we look at the number one need, corner. Both corners are already off the board. We go interior offensive line. Is it too early to draft Elijah Vera Tucker? Possibly. I think he would be great in this 49ers offense. Just they are looking for the right guard. Brunskill had a solid year last year, but I think Vera Tucker would be exceptional in that role. Quarterback, I mean, if Trey Lance is here, I really do like that. I didn't think he'd still be here, honestly. And I don't think he gets here in real life. But if I'm the 49ers right now, I'm stuck, man. I'm stuck. I don't know
Tough
what
one.
I'm going to go.
Very tough one.
Because, I mean, you got Trey Lance still there. Wide receiver is not the biggest need. Edge, there's nobody. Maybe I think about Phillips and Rousseau right here. I think about them. But I think that the 49ers, they're stuck. They need a quarterback of the future. They need somebody that can help them. Jimmy Garoppolo is serviceable. They need somebody to be more than serviceable. I think Trey Lance, under a year in Kyle Shanahan's offense, he'll be able to get the next step, because what Kyle's missing is he wants the robot. He wants a guy that can just make the throw. And I think right now that is Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones is very consistent. He'd be a solid pick, but this is kind of like 10 years ago Kyle Shanahan would take him. 5 years ago Kyle Shanahan would take him. I think Kyle Shanahan realizes that if you're going to compete now basically in the NFC, in the NFL, you need an athletic quarterback, and you need somebody that can make all the throws on the run, all just off the boot action. I think Trey Lance, if he is able to sit under Jimmy Garoppolo for a year, or just like half a year or something like that, I think that'll be very, very helpful for this 49ers team, and I think Trey Lance will help them get him over. I don't know. I don't think he'll be here, but since we're not doing trades, he is here, and so I'm going to take him. I really like him for the 49ers as a developmental prospect. I think Kyle Shanahan can mold him into one of the better quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I think that would be a wild scenario, just all the talk of the Niners, moving on from Jimmy G. We just don't know what's going to happen. I agree with you. I don't think that there's going to be a quarterback there on the board at number 12 when they do pick. But if in the case that it was one of those 4 quarterbacks, I mean, obviously it's not going to be T.L.R. Zach Wilson. Probably not going to be Fields either. But, if Lance is there, I think that he might be too good to pass up for the Niners. But with the Chargers on the board, I mean, they need some help in a lot of positions, just the way that they lost games last year. Looking at this draft board right here, I would say that I would honestly take Rashaan Slater for the Chargers. I think Rashaan Slater, going to be a good plug-and-play tackle on that line. If they really, they did a decent job at protecting Herbert last year, but if they really want him, to last long in the league, you got to build an O-line. And they've already got the weapons. They got some pieces on defense. I still think that they need to focus on defense, but there's just not too many defensive players really worth taking. Micah Parsons, that's an iffy one for a lot of people. But I'd say Rashaan Slater because I think he'd fit in there easy. He would be easy day one starter.
He would be a day one starter. There are questions as is he a tackle? Is he a guard? I mean, you can play him at either of the position. He can play tackle, guard. You can put him at center. He's played all of those. I think if he played this year, it would help people understand, like, okay, what position he plays best. But I think day one, you start him at tackle. If not, you can still slide him in the guard. Chargers have a lot of holes in their offensive line. I think that's a really great pick for them. And then I got the Minnesota Vikings at 14. This is a really interesting one. They don't have too many great needs, but they do have important ones, like interior offensive line, just guard, what's going to happen with their tackles over the next couple years. Interior defense line, there's no one worth taking. Like, you got Christian Barrymore maybe, but this too rich for me. If you're going to do that, you trade back. Maybe Trevon Moehrig, just because we see a safety go in the first round every year. Vikings, we know Mike Zimmer loves his defensive players. Maybe he values him higher than a lot of other teams would. Potentially we see that there, but what I'm going for right here is going to be Elijah Vera Tucker out of USC. I just love his versatility. You can keep him on the inside. If a need does pop out and at right or left tackle, I believe he can play solid tackle for you. But as a guard, he gives you great play. I think he has he has a high upside, and he'll be a Pro Bowler if he is a guard.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick right there. Solid player out of USC. And now with the Patriots on the board at the number 15 pick, tight end, like we were talking about Pitts, he was already gone. Wide receiver, I think I would go with wide receiver because you were talking about how sparse in interior defensive linemen are, and it's for me. Are the Patriots? Is Bill Belichick the one to take Micah Parsons though? That's a big question mark.
Donta Hightower was getting hold. He backed out last year, or he opted out last year.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just really thinking about it right now. I was going to take Bateman. I'm going to be honest. I was going to take Bateman for this Patriots team. They need weapons. But Parsons, though, I feel like if there's a coach to make sure that, he's on the right track somewhat, I feel like it's Bill Belichick. So I'm going to switch my picks. I was originally going to take Bateman. Going to go with Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons finally off the board. No doubt about his athleticism. He's hell of a player. Just some characteristics, I guess you could call that. And just such a good prospect. And like I said, if there's really a coach that could get the most out of him, make sure that he turns into the player that he should be. He could be a star in the league. He just needs to make sure that he keeps his head straight. He puts in the work, and I think that Bill Belichick can be the coach to really get that out of him. So, one of the best defensive prospects in this draft, Micah Parsons, off the board, number 15 to the Patriots.
The Patriots always just seem to have that right guy fall to them when they need him to. I think Micah Parsons will be a solid middle linebacker for them, eventually take over the play calling duties. You give Bill Belichick another weapon on that defense. It's just they do need to build that offense. So Rashad Bateman would have been a really good pick for them just because, I mean, Patriots haven't really had a receiver in years, honestly. Like Edelman when he was in his prime, yes, but he's getting older now. Gronk, he was hurt his last couple of years there. They need to upgrade that offense, but I think if Micah Parsons is there, I can definitely understand the reasoning on why they would take him. So moving on to the next pick, I have the Arizona Cardinals with number 16. They did just sign J.J. Watt, and on our previous show, we talked about it a lot. Just the whole NFC West, who we think they should take, free agents updates and stuff like that. But they just got J.J. Watt, so that need of edge is taken off the board. Cornerback is one of the most talked about things right here. J.C. Horn is usually who you see going here. J.C. Horn, the thing is with him, it's just he's a little grabby. His style of play, I don't know if it'll translate directly to the NFL very quickly. He might take a little bit to get used to it. I think he could potentially turn into a good player, but if you're going to take him, I'd be more comfortable taking him after pick 25. In the middle of the first round, you still want a really solid starter. I don't know if you get that with J.C. Horn. So if we look at who's on the board, they still need – I mean, they do need a tackle, but I don't think it's as dire of a need. Kelvin Beachum might be out the door. I forget who their left tackle is, but they have money tied up in him, so I don't think he's leaving. They don't need an edge anymore. Linebackers, not the biggest need. Another interesting one that we talked about on the show, I don't think it'll happen, is Travis Etienne. Him and Kyler Murray, that would be so fun on this offense just to get going. I mean, it'd be electric. They'd have guys running all over the place. And then another guy that's just – it's in my mind, why would they not do this, was Wyatt Davis. He's guard out of Ohio State. Big dude, very mobile. He upgrades that line instantly. It's just, do you value taking a guard this high? That's the biggest question. And right now, there's really nobody else. You can get Rashad Bateman in there. You can get Freiermuth in there. But I think they had one of the worst offensive lines last year. This might be a reach, but I think they take Wyatt Davis. You got to protect Kyler Murray. You got to protect your biggest asset. It helps out in the running game. I think Wyatt Davis would be a really solid pick, but I understand why it might be high. I think you can trade back and also get Wyatt Davis. But taking him right here at number 16 because I'd rather have him over J.C. Horn as of right now.
Yeah, looking at the needs of the Cardinals right there and the prospects available, that was a little bit of a tough one because, really the best prospects on the board, they, were pretty much covered in those positions. And like we talked about with the Bengals drafting Jamar Chase, it was, kind of taking the best player available instead of need. This is taking, team need first over best player available. In the end, though, I think it will work out. They need to make sure they protect Kyler. That's their future right now. J.J. Watt said it. I believe in you. And if they really want to believe in him, they're going to have to keep him upright. Moving on, the Raiders right here, number 17, looking at their needs edge. What do you got right there? Jalen Phillips. I think they take Jalen Phillips. They need an edge player. I feel like that's a pretty easy pick for the Raiders if he's right there on the board. And that's
I love that pick for them. I know. Yeah, I feel like John Gruden, he loves those. John Gruden and Mike Mayock, they like those big program guys. So Power 5 guys, those are the guys that go towards. Phillips, former 5-star recruit, finally put it all together in Miami. We'll see if his injury history causes him to slip a little bit, but I definitely see Jalen Phillips in a Raiders uniform. I think John Gruden, that's just his type of guy, like just a gnarly player that just gets all over the field. And the Raiders had one of the worst pass rushing defensive line last year. Injecting Phillips in there will definitely help build that Raiders defense and help them get back towards the playoffs. I really like that one. So then number 18, I got the Miami Dolphins. You got them with number 3 with Devonta Smith. We look at the top of this board. I'm pretty sure Christian Darrisaw's still here. Yes, he is. You get a left tackle to plug and play. Basically, you can't hope for better than that. Like, you get a really good offensive tackle. Austin Jackson, I think you bump him over to the right side. Hunt, you bump him inside. And then you put Darrisaw as that left tackle. I think that'll be a great pick. Covers their team need right there, as well as they just you got to protect Tua. If you're gonna invest in Tua and not move off of him or not trade for anybody else, you got to give him the best option to succeed. I think getting Christian Darrisaw right there is going to give Tua that best option. Give him the most time, basically, just to make the right read. And I love that pick for them. It's not his blind side, but he's still protecting Tua. I think it's just you got a lot of these teams that we're seeing. Like you got to invest in your young quarterback. You got to invest weapons on the wide receivers and running backs, and you also got to invest in the offensive line because we saw it last year with Joe Burrow. He just ACL. He was running for his life on almost every play. And we saw it even in the Super Bowl. If you don't have an offensive line, it's just going to make your life hell. So I'm taking Christian Darrisaw for the Miami Dolphins. You got anything to say on that one? Or are we ready to move on to the Washington football team?
Ready to move on to the Washington football team.
All
right. And here at number 19 for the Washington football team, it's just the situation. I'm wondering in real life in the draft, this is probably going to happen. And I expected it right around this range. And I feel like this is, what might happen is I was thinking, late teens, maybe early 20s, a team is going to reach for Mac Jones. And the quarterback needy team in the Washington football team, I feel like this is a pick that they would make. He was getting a lot of praise from some former teammates, Bama teammates. You were talking about it. It was no shade against Tua. They're just trying to prove Mac's draft stock. It's as simple as that. And it did the job because Mac Jones is heading to Washington with the number 19th pick.
All right, and then we did see, I don't know if you saw it, but Chris Sims released his top quarterbacks list. Mac Jones was listed as the number 3 quarterback. He does make some good points.
That whole list was rough.
It was rough, but he's been right. He called Patrick Mahomes. He called Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. He called Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins not being a top 3 quarterback in that draft. He's been right. So as much as that list is wild, there's validity in what he has to say. So maybe he's seen something. Because to me, Mac Jones he's a safe pick. He's a field manager. All right, yeah, he's basically a game manager. You're getting Kirk Cousins. You're getting Alex Smith. Both guys that have been in Washington. He's a safe pick. He makes all the throws that you need to. He's like a robot. Like you just tell him where to throw. He'll stay in the pocket. He makes all the correct throws, great reads. It's just he's not the flashy player. So that's why a lot of people do have a hard time seeing him as a first-round pick. I think he will go in the first round, say the first-round pick. I think he kind of teeters in that area, but he's definitely going to be a solid player in this league. And if Washington didn't take him, I would have taken him right here with the Bears just because they have nobody. I don't know. Might bring back MVP Mitch, but I don't really know what they're doing at the quarterback position. Right now, Kyle Trask, no way I'm drafting a quarterback right now. But so, honestly, you move on to the next need. Tackle, they need an offensive line. Whoever you do bring in, you're going to have to protect them. There are some really good tackles in this draft. I think, who do we got? We got Jalen Mayfield, Tevin Jenkins, Liam Eichenberg. I think Liam Eichenberg and Jalen Mayfield are both day one starters. And I don't know why, but just Liam Eichenberg feels like a Chicago Bear to me. I love his technique. I love the way he plays, especially in that cold weather. He's been there. He has great technique. I'm going to take Liam Eichenberg. I feel like he fits this Bears team, and whoever they're going to have at quarterback, he's going to be protecting their blind side. There we go. And he's going to be doing a great job at it. So you're up next with the Colts. That's you.
So Colts pick, there's some things that they could do here. Offensive tackle, corner, and wide receiver. And, it's for me, it would be between Jalen Mayfield and Rashad Bateman. Bateman would be the flashy pick, but the Colts aren't really known for making flashy picks. So I think they go Jalen Mayfield, offensive left tackle with the retirement of Anthony Costanzo. One of the biggest, left tackle is one of the biggest positions. And if you're really going to want Carson Wentz to be, nice and settled there, you don't want an inconsistent left tackle that's always going to be, making Carson Wentz play with no confidence. So like you said, Jalen Mayfield, day one starter, think he could fit there. Bateman, he was very, very tempting. Especially when you hear about that 40 that he ran, like a 4.39, he's just a pretty freak athlete. But there's some big name wide receivers in free agency. There's also some second round, day 2 options that you go at receiver. I just think that, with the market of left tackle right now, you got guys like maybe Trent Williams. We'll see, if where he signs. And who is Trent Brown is maybe going to be traded for the Raiders. We'll see what he is.
There's
Orlando Brown.
Orlando Brown too, yes.
Yeah, but I feel like, left tackles like that, it's going to require a lot of, draft capital or a lot of money. And you could get a left tackle rookie contract right here who's a really, really solid prospect. So, yeah, I just think that even though Rashad Bateman's super tempting, I think that they can't pay his pass up if Jalen Mayfield's on the board right there.
And then Rashad Bateman, 4.39 laser. That's crazy right there. I think he plays closer to 4.5 speed, but, that's still not terrible. Creates great separation. It would be a good pick, but, yeah, I think the Colts do need to just replace Anthony Costanzo and whoever – you got to protect Carson Wentz too. You just paid for him. You're going to be paying him a bunch of money. You might as well try to keep him upright. And so then I got the Tennessee Titans right here at number 22. They need edge. They need interior. They just need somebody. At edge right here, Russo's tempting. He is really tempting, but I think I'm going to go a different route just because I want Russo on another team. And I don't think he'll take him. We'll trust. We'll see what happens. But I think if you put Christian Barrymore, no, I'm doing it. I'm taking Greg Rousseau for the Tennessee Titans. I love his length. I love his production. It's just been 1 year, though. That's the biggest thing. He would literally redshirt freshman year, moved all over the line, worked on the outside, worked on the interior, does a great job, long, lanky, needs to learn how to use his body a bit more. But, he had a ton of tackles for losses, I believe, close to 16 and a half sacks, 19 and a half. I was one of those. He was a great player. It's just 1 year production. I think Mike Vrabel will be able to get the most out of him. So I'm going to take him right here and fulfill this need, but I wish I could have saved him because I really would have liked him for the Browns a couple picks later. But you're up with the Jets. Who are you thinking about right now?
So I was talking about the Colts, the prospect I was really tempted to take, Rashad Bateman. I think he'd be, here at 23 would be a perfect weapon for Zach Wilson. I think that, he's got speed, big body. I think that they could really get a connection there. So with the 23rd pick, let's take Rashad Bateman on the New York Jets.
Rashad Bateman to the Jets. That's a good one right there. And we're moving to the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 24. So they had a Pouncey retire. If you listen to our podcast, I can never remember which one. They had their center, M. Pouncey, retired. I know I'm correct when I say that. Also, left tackle, Alejandro Villanueva, we don't know. We thought he retired, but then I was just they're just not bringing him back, so I don't know what's happening there. So we are going to look at tackle right now, and we have Samuel Cosmi. He's a bit of a project, and I think the Pittsburgh Steelers would rather have a plug-and-play guy because they just re-signed Ben Roethlisberger. They're making a run in this next 2 years. They want a player that's not going to take as long to develop as Cosmi. I think Cosmi has higher upside over the long term, but he does have some stuff to fix right now. So I'm actually going to take Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State. Big dude. He'll be able to – he's a big dude, wears glasses, super cool looking dude. But he's just a fun player. He's a mauler. I think he's gonna beef up the Steelers offensive line, and the Steelers are gonna be a dangerous team again next year. Let's just see what happens. Hopefully they're not a big TikTokers and actually focus on the football field. But yeah, Tevin Jenkins to the Steelers. I feel like it's match made in heaven right there. Another match made in heaven that I would have loved, but you got to fix this offensive line. Najee Harris, in a Steelers uniform, him a big bruising back would have been fun to watch, but they really need an offensive lineman. And so I'm giving them Tevin Jenkins right here at number 24. So you're up with number 25. Are you going to protect Trevor Lawrence, or where are you going to go with this one, David?
Yeah, for the Jags, not the biggest prospect pool for their needs. When we looked at the offensive tackle position, you got guys like Dylan Radden, Jackson Carman. Then you got Cosmi. They need to protect T-Law. And a pick right here, 25, you got to wonder if J.C. Horn is worth it. But I think they'll take tackle from North Dakota State, Dylan Radden.
All right, Dylan Radens. That's going to be an interesting one. See if he'll be able to be a good upgrade and going from that level of competition. If he'll be able to plug and play from day one, is he going to need a little bit of seasoning? I think he is going to be a really good player, though. And so moving to the Cleveland Browns at number 26, I really would have loved Russo right here. You just replaced – they missed out on the J.J. Watt sweepstakes. There was reports that them and the Colts had offered more, but he ended up picking the Cardinals. Browns really need somebody else. If I could have had Russo right here, it would have been a great pick. I mean, we still have guys like Jason Owa. I think they like bigger guys on the edge. Looking at guys similar to Olivier Vernon's size. Both Ojulari and Osai would be good picks for them, but they're lighter guys. They play around 240-ish, 250 tops, where, I mean, like a guy like Vernon was 270 around that, play a little bit above that. So I don't think I'm going to go that direction. Cornerback, you do have J.C. Horn right here. That'd be very tempting. Just find somebody else to put out across from Denzel Ward. Another option that I got right here. Who was I just thinking of? I mean, you got Trevon Morg, but I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, I think if he lasts this long, I know Browns fans are getting a little bit tired of we don't need to overreact to the linebacking core, but I mean, the way that he plays, I think he'll be all over the field. He's great in coverage. I mean, we saw him at Notre Dame. Literally, if the other team brought out a 3-receiver, 4-receiver set, he was covering a wide receiver, and he was covering them damn well. He does need to work on his run fits, but I think if you get him in the first round, you are going to be able to find a solid pass rusher in day two, maybe a Quincy Roche, somewhere like that. I definitely I wish that Russo was here, but I'm going to take Owusu-Koramoah. I love his coverage ability. I love his versatility. I really sure the Browns will know how to use him right. And, I mean, have one guy at each level that's elite. If you have, Myles Garrett, Owusu-Koramoah, and then Denzel Ward on the outside, you really just need another safety there, and then you got almost a complete defense. But I really like that pick. You're up with number 27, Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so this is it's quite the interesting spot here for the Ravens because, you look, they need an edge. You can maybe go Azeez Ojulari. Really, they could go maybe Pat Fairmouth. He's there at, late in the first round. I don't think they should go the route of Kadarius Toney, even though he's a highly rated prospect, because I just feel like, they need a player. They already have players like Kadarius Toney, and like the smaller, quick guys such as, Hollywood Brown. I don't think really, fits them. And honestly, right here, I would say they really need an edge. Edge is looking a little thin, but I would go with the edge out of Georgia, Azeez Ojulari.
He's a nice fast guy right off the edge. I don't know how they'll use him. Maybe in like a more Tyus Bowser role. They do often go for bigger guys, but I think speed rusher off the edge, contrast what they got going on the other side, would be a very interesting pick for them. And also, we've already talked about them too. We talked about how they should target Corey Davis. So if they do, definitely target Corey Davis and get him in free agency, or just another big receiver to put across from Hollywood Brown. I think edge and tight end would be the two biggest needs after that one. But did you want to say anything else about Ojulari, or should I move on to the Saints?
Move on to the 28th pick.
All right, 28th overall pick, New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, what's the story with him? Is he not officially retired?
I have no clue.
Yeah, some weird stuff. But as you know, it's a big Winston season. We're going to be eating some dubs next year. But right here, cornerback, edge. I think edge, they have a couple solid players, but I think this is where I take J.C. Horn. I said anywhere after pick 25, I'm comfortable taking him. You already have Marshawn Lattimore on the other side. He's going to be that guy on the other side, especially with Sean Payton. They have great coaching there. I think they'll be able to coach him up very well. He's going to go there. I think they'll make him work in this league. He's a dog. He's all over the place. He makes plays. It's just he does get grabby and touchy. So I think that he'll be able to work that out with the Saints and become a really solid number 2 cornerback for them.
So moving on to the 29th pick, we got the Packers. I'm going to go with the receiver for them. I'm going to say that right now. I think this is finally the year that the Packers front office drafts a receiver in the first round for Rodgers. Whether it's Kadarius Toney or Terrence Marshall Jr., two very different players. One is 5'11", just very versatile, very quick, and then Terrence Marshall, who is 6'3". I just think that in the Packers offense, Terrence Marshall will fit better than Kadarius Toney, so I'm going to select Terrence Marshall at number 29 for the Packers.
Terrence Marshall, big dude, and he fits their profile. We've seen what St. Brown there. We've seen Devonta Adams is a little big. Marquez Valdez-Scantling. All those guys are big jump ball guys. I think Terrence Marshall will fit right in with them. Another guy on the outside, because, they've always been looking for that number 2 receiver. You have Devonta Adams. They have Big Bob Tunyon. They do need that number 2 receiver. I think Marshall will be able to fill that role perfectly. And a little bit better Kadarius Toney, just because Kadarius Toney, he does have a little bit of drop issues. And I don't see him working on the outside. I see him as a predominantly slot guy, where Terrence Marshall, you can have him in the slot or on the outside. So then moving on to number 30, we're almost out of here. The Buffalo Bills. Hold on. This one, they need a linebacker. They're going to lose, what's his name? Matt something.
Matt Milano.
Matt Milano. They're going to lose him in free agency. They're not going to be able to afford him. They also do need another offensive lineman. I don't think that any of them should be taken right here. Any interior guys. Edge is interesting. Maybe Osai Owa, but I'm going to go Nick Bolton. We've seen this one a lot. Very productive. He's going to be all over the place, and he's going to be not fill Matt Milano's shoe, but he's going to make a lot of similar plays. Like, he's just a very consistent player. He's going to make sure he's really good in coverage, fills all his run gaps. He's going to be a really solid player. Could you got somebody with higher potential? Yes, but I think Nick Bolton's just a plug-and-play guy. He's going to give you good production from the jump. So I'm going to go him at number 30, and you got the Chiefs at number 31.
Yeah, so the Chiefs, you look at their needs, and wide receivers right there. And I'm going to make a little bit of a surprising pick right here. I think that Kadarius Toney, really fits well with the Chiefs because, his speed and everything. But I'm going to go with a guy that, was arguably a little more versatile. I think he'll fit better in this Chiefs offense, and that's going to be Rondale Moore out of Purdue. Ooh. I just think that him with Mahomes, him with Andy Reid, I feel like they could really get the best out of him. And, he was always been a dynamic player ever since, his freshman year when he went wild against Ohio State, when Ohio State was ranked number 2 and Purdue, shocked the Buckeyes on Saturday Night Football. And I think that, like I said, with Mahomes and Reid, he's going to be making more magical plays in the league. So I got Chiefs selecting Rondale Moore at number 31.
All right, and that's a really interesting pick just because, it's just going to be a track meet there. We already know that with the Kansas City Chiefs, but he's a little bit smaller, 5'9", I believe, 180-ish. He's not the biggest dude. I know the Chiefs will be able to use him right. He does have a little bit of injury concerns. I like the pick. It's just you have to be concerned about how healthy can he stay. We do see a lot of guys that are fast like that do have calf problems, do get hamstring problems. It's just once you start getting those, like, they kind of just keep repeating, they keep appearing. But I think it'll be if he's able to stay healthy, I think it's going to be a really good pick. And him and Tyreek Hill in the same offense is just going to be two blurs running across the screen. But moving on to the last pick, I got a Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers right here. And they're going to be losing Ndamukong Suh, and they're also going to be losing Shaq Barrett in free agency. I don't think they're going to be able to retain both of them. And to me, the more important one of those two, I think you can find somebody to replace Ndamukong Suh later in the draft. I think you can find in the second round, you can find another solid player. But I think right now, off the edge, you replace Shaq Barrett with Joseph Osai, a fast, productive edge rusher. I love his game. I think it'll work well, and especially with all the talent surrounding him, I think the Buccaneers are ready to make another Super Bowl run. Already have all the places in peace. They just need to re-up all the players and re-up basically. Maybe if they lose Levante David, we see them go linebacker. But as of right now, I don't think they lose him. I think they lose Shaq Barrett and Ndamukong Suh. I'm replacing Shaq Barrett with Joseph Osai. And that closes out our first mock draft, our 2021 mock draft. We'll be doing these once a week, maybe once every other week. We'll see you posting them on YouTube. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Comment on what you hated. Comment on what you loved. Just comment, just anything random. We'll take anything. But yeah, a lot of interesting picks. I gotta say, Jamar Chase right there. Didn't see that one coming. We got Trey Lance did fall to the Niners. Micah Parsons to the Patriots. A lot of fun stuff happened in this one. But you got anything else left for us, Dave, before we get out of here?
Oh no, I mean this was as soon as Penny Sewell went to the Falcons, some picks, some unexpected stuff happens, and I mean probably all our mock drafts gonna be like that, and I expect some crazy stuff to happen on the real draft night too. I think it's gonna be a really fun draft.
So next time, I believe that we're going to be switching. I'm going to be odds. He's going to be evens, and then in a couple weeks, we're going to be incorporating trades. And I didn't mention this in the beginning, but we are using the mock draft machine through the Draft Network. I mean, it's a great resource. I'll be able to tag it below underneath our podcast link. It's fun to use. But yeah, we'll see you guys when we see you. Peace out. Have a good one.